Hey guys, space is one of the last issues we left off on. And we talked about this over here. And we got it all set up. And then I had discussed the possibility of finally fixing this corner over here. Back when we talked about this shelf over here. Well, it's time. So, to go about this, I like simple solutions. A, it was either drill some more brackets into the wall and build it up, but I like the idea that Amuro's hung there for a long time and I'd rather not move him. So I got to thinking, I need an open shelf, and I need it to be something that I can alter if I ever need it altered. We're talking about toys here, so we're not talking about anything way too heavy. If the shelf is recommended to hold, say, anywhere from 15 to 25, maybe even 30 pounds per shelf, we should be more than fine. We're talking about G.I. Joes and action figures here. We're not talking about anything extreme. So since I'm not storing a bunch of books or something like that, we can also cheap out a little bit. Well, I happen to find this shelf right here. And this, hopefully, is the answer. I found it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. It's a 5-tier shelf, and its construction is exceedingly simple, to the point where the final step would actually allow me to buy a second shelf stacked on top of this one to the exact height that I want, should it come down to it. Each one of these shelves should be a little over a foot, like 13.25, somewhere in there. And if that's true, then we should have no problem putting statues or anything else that we can think of on there, even giving us space for if we go ahead and do like the riser system or whatever to get everything on there. These are a nice color, and they came in a lot of different colors too. That's a solid, because it meant that I could try to match the color of the shelves that I already have. This is great because it'll also create a consistent theme across the entire collection. Shelving looking like that, shelving looking like this, build it up across there, and if this works out, then we'll probably end up replacing the shelving on the other side of the room as well. But first things first, we're gonna build this thing. As I said, the building of this is exceedingly simple. It is literally this easy. That's the bottom. These are the bars. They're plastic. I'm sure I could bend this if I really wanted to, but as you can see, I could put a decent amount of pressure on here and it's not going anywhere. That's good. Put this up in there. Put this down in there. Screw it in. Screw it till it's decently tight. You don't want to get too crazy. This is plastic, but there. Once it's nice, it's secured, it's not going anywhere. There it is. It's that simple, and literally every single shelf is that simple. From this point forward, this sticks up a little bit, and these will just simply go down into here after I put the next shelf on top of this, and we'll build it up into the corner 5 high, and we'll see just how high that really is. It should be a little bit shorter than me, because I never hit 6 foot. So we're thinking a little over 5 feet. It should be a good sized shelf. And if that's true, then just getting 4 more shelves will take it all the way to the ceiling, I would imagine. But we'll see how it looks when I finish this step. I'm going to get it all built up and put it in the corner over there where all the Gunpla stuff is, so we can finally, like, you know, get the Gunpla off the floor. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Okay, so the first part of it is done. It's that simple. That's it. That's all it is. You just take these, you screw them into that, you put the shelf on, you screw it, you put the shelf on, you screw them, you put the shelf on, you screw them, and it'll go on up from there. I could match the level of the shelves if I honestly wanted to, if I wanted to go through the trouble of dropping these. That's not really my primary concern right now. My concern was to keep it open as much as I possibly could, and to get something in the corner here to finally house some of the Gunpla stuff. And for that matter, that stuff is going to end up going right there, and I think we're going to be perfectly fine, actually. And it already looks better. that is what it looks like now. That's one shelf filled with Gunpla that's ready to be made. A second shelf filled with the rest of the models will be the end of it. That simple, already done. The only thing left, don't mind, I was dusting old stuff, but there's this left to put up there. There's a transformer, a USS Enterprise bridge, 2 Gunpla, both RGs, that'll go up on this shelf right here, and then the rest of the 3 shelves are all open territory to move things like the Gunpla off of the shelf here, open that up for more Marvel or DC, and so on and so forth. This looks like a cheap, easy fix to a problem that I've been dealing with. I think this is going to work very well. The only problem I've encountered is a minor thing. I have a plug right here that is one of the only plugs that I actually have for this, and I have to keep that there for what it's worth until I find a better place to move it to. That's my internet right there. So without that, I'd be having some troubles. But the shelf is actually fine. It doesn't need to go all the way against the wall, and it seems sturdy enough that it's not going to cause me any kind of problems. But we'll see as I build it up. Maybe I'll have no choice but to go in and move that and get it against the wall. But right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem. And there we go. There it is. 5-tier. It works very well. These caps are the last step. These caps simply screw into here and then close out the top if I choose to do so. If I don't cap it, I could buy another one and take this literally all the way to the ceiling if I absolutely chose to. And there's a possibility that I could choose to do it. I might cap them for now and worry about that part later, but we'll see how that goes. This is going to fill a couple of different things for me. It's going to be more shelf space. It's going to be a place to put the Gunpla before I build it. It's going to be a place to put some of the stuff that I have to open so it's stored to the side. And it fit the exact space requirement that I needed because I didn't want to hit this. And it fit that space specifically. Like, I was very lucky to just look up shelf size and find this. And to see that I could get it as high as I want just by stacking, just add a layer, add a layer, add a layer, absolutely nothing's going to stop me. That's fantastic. And that means that if this worked out as well as it did, then maybe the next step is to come over here and get that space filled and then replace these old white bookshelves, because one thing that I'm going to like is that these, when this used to be pushed back all the way against the wall over here, I lost shelf space here, about this much. Doesn't sound like much, but it was enough that from all the way here, all the way down, I couldn't put anything because it was just shadowed and you couldn't see past the actual shelf here, and that was causing a real problem. Where here, even though it's not perfect, this does not block the other shelves. You could still look in this direction and get a glimpse of most everything there. Is it still a little intrusive? Is it still a little in the way? Yes, you could very much argue so. But I like it to be open more than I like it to be a closed bookshelf. And so this is a perfect fit for what I specifically need at this time. As I get a bunch of figures on here, I'll know exactly how this is going to run. And these shelves are not these shelves here. That's just 100% undeniable. So what I take off of here, fitting onto here, is going to be a task all in its own right as to what goes on there. But this is still a good deal. Now, we've talked about min-maxing. That was in the last episode talking about space where we talked about min-maxing. This project is going to add total space coming in just under 12 inches across, which is very nice. Sorry, 12 inches. I apologize. Just under 24 inches. I don't know why I said that. And then height-wise, let me reset here because I got one hand. 56 inches from the shelf to the shelf top. That's not counting the floor. There's about an inch that you lose because of the little legs, but that's fine. We're not worried about that. We're not counting that. That's awesome. That's a lot of space. That's 2 foot. And then in terms of its depth, I guess I didn't consider that. Let's check. Its depth, we're looking at about 12 inches. Not bad. So we're looking at a depth of about 12 inches, a width of about 24 inches, and this is only currently sitting about 56 inches high. So at that current idea, and I am curious in general, realistically, from the bottom of a shelf, we are looking at a little over a foot. That means there's very little figures that we wouldn't be able to put on this shelf. Very, very little. Some of the biggest stuff I've got would easily fit here, which is absolutely fantastic news. Because as I move things around and get things over here and then secure space over there, I figure I could get one more shelf at 13. Let me check. All right, I did the measurements. I can get 2 more shelves. That's what I could get added on to here before I stop this off. So right now I'm at 5 possible layers. I could go 6, I could go 7 possible layers before I run out. So that adds 7 possible layers here, and then 7 possible layers over there, and 7 possible layers over there also, because I could put these side to side over there and build them all the way up to the ceiling as well. So that's 7 more shelves at 2 feet, 7 more shelves at 2 feet, 7 more shelves at 2 feet. That's a lot of added space. And this is a big part of the game. A big part of the game collecting is min-maxing your space. You do have to be a little crazy about it because you have to know exactly what you want, but little solutions like this, a solid shelf, something that you can easily use, and this is not bad at all. It is actually pretty solid, especially once I get some weight on it. It's really not going to go anywhere. It's not as solid as this. This really isn't going anywhere, but this is still going to be perfectly acceptable for what I'm going to put on there. My plan so far is to definitely move the Gunpla, and I may also move the Pokemon, and I may also move the Dragon Ball Z. I'm hoping to possibly make this an anime shelf 7 high, of course, once I get the other shelf. So I'm going to buy another one of these 5, because it makes sense. I'll buy them in stacks of 5, and I'll just build them. But we have to go a little bit at a time. I have to do what I can as I can do it. And as it stands right now, these shelves, I wonder what they currently run, because I got mine on sale. 43 bucks. Not bad. That's pretty good for when we're talking shelving. When you talk shelving, you could be talking about a very expensive ordeal. Like, you're going to pay for every single inch that you want to add and utilize in whatever space you happen to be using. This is not in my way as of right now. And once I get those over there, that will be a it's probably the best I'm ever going to get out of this setup without building more brackets into the wall, in all honesty. This is probably the end of my min-max operation. Once I have these shelves up, I will probably have full utilization of all the possible space in the room. And at that point, that's it. At that point, it's all about figuring out what to buy, when to buy it, how to buy it, and what to get rid of. Because if you move something in, you got to move something out once you get to a certain point. But this is fantastic. I'm very happy with it. I'm hoping that it does nothing but get better and better and better. Like, once I add the other layers up there and once I replace that over there, we're just looking at a lot of extra shelving, a lot of extra room, a lot of extra ability to buy, to store, to move, to decorate, to whatever. And I don't have to worry about losing certain things when I do it. Like I won't lose the Wonder Woman pictures because this has no back. It's a see-through. It's a pass-through shelf. This is actually really, really good. Yeah, I kind of love this. I got mine from Amazon. I got it for 43 bucks. Well, you saw. And I think that at that price, almost the price of certain action figures at this point, you could put off buying one deluxe Masterverse figure, relatively, and get 7 layers. Or, 5 layers, sorry. It's 5 layers. The one that I bought was that. But I did see them coming in other sizes too that weren't just that. I bought the 5 layer because it was the top one that I wanted specifically that seemed to match the space that I wanted to build in. Now, if I just rebuy that shelf over and over and over again, because of the way that it's designed, I can just stack and move from there. That is perfect. It is very simple. It took a very, very short amount of time to set up. We're talking like, maybe took me 15 minutes, realistically. And I had to move stuff out of my way to do it. I just screwed on the 4, and then after that it was place, screw, 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 place, screw, 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 place, screw, screw, screw. It was done. That simple. Worked very well. It was very, very easy. Are these incredibly high quality? It's plastic. It's wood. It seems like decent wood, but it's very thin as well. The directions for it specifically claim that they're suggesting 15 pounds per shelf. This unit has been designed to support the maximum load shown. Exceeding these load limits could cause sagging, instability, so on and so forth. I don't think that's going to be a problem. We're talking action figures. If I was doing books, I would tell you, like, you don't do this. It will not secure your needs. But that's another thing to consider when you build something like this, when you put something like this in place. If you're talking about like big statues or something like that, and it doesn't really weigh that much, and each statue is what, 3-4 pounds or whatever, and you figure action figures are usually not that heavy. And I would also argue that action figures in general, even if I kind of pack them on there, I don't think you would cause enough instability. Maybe I'll find out the hard way. I don't know. But I honestly think that this shelf is going to do exactly what I need it to do, in all honesty. I don't see anything here that's going to like backlash me really hard. In fact, the bookshelf that I've had over there is made of particle board, and it has not sagged under the weight of all the Motu. So I can't imagine for the life of me that this is going to give me any problems. I think I found a decent solution. I think it's going to take me some real time still, because maybe 1 every 2 paychecks or something like that until I really get everything in place. But I think I've got the final part of my space management for this room. I think I've got it. At that point, it's either build into the garage like I've been debating since I bought the house, which I kind of already have. That's where all my boxing equipment is, and that's also where my classic video games, that's where my Super Nintendo, my Sega Genesis, things of that nature, all that stuff is out there. And that's where I play it. Me and my brother Nick will go out there and we'll sit down and we'll play like PlayStation for like the entire day just out there in the garage. I'd like to replace that TV out there. I think that I could get a better TV in its place, but for what it's worth, the garage is already set in the foundation where I want it. It's already kind of an extra hangout room anyway. I just need to get some insulation and things like that up, and then I think that'll be absolutely perfect. That's what a big part of this is. Collecting is knowing your space and not exceeding that space into like hoarder limits. I honestly believe that. I think, and I've talked about this before, there was a video on here called the Collector's Triangle, and I kind of live by that. I'm very real about that. As you bring things in, you need to constantly allocate the idea that you need the space, and you need to know what you've got wasn't a waste of time, and you need to be willing to let go of things as you pick things up. Case in point, now that I got the art book, there's no reason to keep all those boxes. I just got all that space back. Some people, inbox collectors, gasp when you're like, I'm going to throw all the boxes away. And even some collectors that open are still like, no, I keep all my boxes. No way. Not me. There's way too much over here for me to keep the boxes and actually be able to maintain the space that I would need to do such a thing. And to me, packaging is packaging. It was literally designed to be thrown away. I would argue that Motu has a bit of a different idea because Motu, the artwork, is a big part of the line. But also, Motu knows that, and they released the art books, and so at the price of the art book, I got all my space back. I got 2 full shelves back just by buying the art book. And with this purchase right here, I hope to get another 2 shelves on top of it. So I just quadrupled my space with an art book and a shelf. Min-maxing. It is a huge part of this game. You have to know the space you have, how to utilize it, and what you want to go in that space. And don't be in a rush to fill that space up either. Don't worry about knickknacks and little things and dumb stuff. Get the things that speak to you that matter. Awesome. New shelf added. Space acquired. Collecting, continuing. A pretty good day. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.